Hey, this is Gatorex, and in Pokemon TCG Pocket, we will be getting Pokemon EX in the very first set, and I am just a little worried. Now, I really am looking forward to this game, but the Pokemon EX I am just a little worried about because they're pretty big, honestly. Sure, they do give up 2 points when they're knocked out, and that is, more than halfway there in the 3-point system in the TCG Pocket, but in the format that we've seen so far, at least from the cards that are shown in the trailers, I still feel that they're a little weirdly balanced. For one thing, yes, they do have lower HP counts than the actual EX Pokemon that we have in the main card game right now, and mostly their moves are somewhat balanced with the amount of energy that is required, but I feel like the damage output is still pretty high for what they should be. Though there still might be some challenges in actually getting these Pokemon set up and actually getting them attached with energy because it's a very different format. And also with cards like Charizard EX, it does have to deal with the fact that it has to evolve, and this is a format that doesn't have rare candy. And I do also like that Charizard does need to evolve just like we have the EX Pokemon in the regular game. I'm glad that they didn't just make it a basic Pokemon like in Pokemon XY era where all the EXs were basic Pokemon. It's about at the same power level, give or take, both of those Charizards. But with TCG Pocket needing you to evolve the Pokemon, it's somewhat balanced in that sense. But honestly, one of the other issues I have is that the damage modifier on the weakness is only plus 20 instead of times 2. Now overall, I'm actually a fan of the plus 20 weakness modifier instead of the times 2, but in a format where we're going to have the X Pokemon, I feel like it's going to be a little more difficult to deal with them. Not necessarily saying that every counter needs to one-shot these Pokemon, but it is honestly really helpful when you're dealing with Pokemon this big compared to the main card pool of the rest of the Pokemon. Overall, Charizard I feel is kind of fine, but Mewtwo is honestly one of the biggest problems. Being only a basic Pokemon, having 150 HP, and a move that deals 150 damage, it almost just feels like we could get into Mewtwo battles like we had way back in the day. And I know there is a downside of having to discard the energies after you use a move, but if you're able to get into a position where one Mewtwo knocks out another, and especially if you have, say, like a Gardevoir on the bench, you could easily get your Mewtwo recharged with energy, and then just be ready to swing at something else on the next turn. And the thing is, with Mewtwo being weak to Dark Pokemon, and there being no Dark Pokemon revealed so far, right now it's seeming like, yeah, that's basically the main counter to Mewtwo is just having your own Mewtwo or a Charizard. So yeah, with Mewtwo I really just feel like it has way too much HP for it being a basic Pokemon that you can just slam onto the bench. It really should have had lower HP and lower damage output, honestly a little similar to the Pikachu EX that we've seen in the gameplay. That one actually feels very balanced. And also all the legendary birds, Articunos, Zapdos, and Moltres, those seem a lot more balanced. Those do have high HP for being basic Pokemon, and they do have pretty powerful moves, but at least they don't just one-shot each other. Personally, I feel like the concept of Pokemon EX should have been left out of this beginning format. I get that there's a whole idea of wanting to make them big and flashy and just kind of remind you of something in the main TCG right now, but what I feel like would have worked a lot better is just kind of have like retrains of the original Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur that came out in the original sets, but maybe change them up a bit, similar to what we got in the XY Evolutions. That one does inflict more damage, and honestly actually the Charizard from XY Evolutions is pretty close to the Charizard EX in terms of power level, just having like, what, 30 HP less? So I think I would have been fine with a stage 2 Pokemon having 150 HP if this was what it looked like. And maybe we could have brought that damage down just a little bit. The point is that from my perspective, looking at everything, just from what we've had revealed so far, Mewtwo just seems really powerful. Again, coupled with the fact that we have Gardevoir in the format. And like I said, yes, we don't have rare candy, and also one thing, we don't know what the playsets will be like in each deck. I'm assuming that maybe with only 20 card decks, it'll be like max 2 per deck, but that's specifically something that we'll just have to wait to find out exactly. Though I am still cautiously optimistic about the game, I just really hope that we get even more EX Pokemon in the future to really balance things out. And so far, all the EX Pokemon we were shown off so far are all the legendaries and the starter Pokemon, all the big important stuff. But if we are going to be playing with EX Pokemon, what I think would be best is if we just get more for other random Pokemon here and there. Like so far we see basic Pokemon like Psyduck and Cubone, so I don't know, give us like a Golduck and Marowak EX to balance things out. So that's just kind of my little rant right now, or just some thoughts. Again, we'll have to wait and see what actually happens and what else develops as we get more trailers and more news and more cards revealed. But I guess we're just going to have to live with EX Pokemon for a little bit longer, and in TCG Pocket as well. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, this is Gatorex, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.